Hey, how's it going, everybody? It's Ryan Saplin here, Fat Loss Strength Coach, coming to you today with a video about results, about strength, about closed loops and open loops. Okay, so what's this talk about open loops and closed loops? What am I going to talk about today? I'm going to talk about the boring subject of goal setting, the obvious subject of goal setting. Now, we all have goals, and one of the things that you'll realize about me if you've been watching me for any period of time is that I like to put out content, whether it be an email list, if you're on my email list, or if you're follow my blog, or you watch my other channel, or you watch this channel. I like to put out videos on a regular basis. Now, what that does, it provides me an instant reaction, instant result. The result is either positive or negative. It'll thumbs up or thumbs down, right? One or the other. It's going to give a high amount of views or low amount of views. What that is, it's closing a loop. And every time I close a loop, which is simply publish something and get results, I get immediate feedback. It's either positive or negative. It's either going to build my confidence or it's going to lower my confidence. Now, powerlifting, strength training, bodybuilding, or in the case of mobility and rehabilitation, which is why a lot of people follow my channel, is the reason why I love mobility so much, and maybe why you do too, is simply instant results, instant feedback. Because that's what we want. We want feedback. We want to know that we are getting better, right? Like the thing is, I learned this thing the other day. It was talking about closed loops and open loops. Or I should say big loops and small loops, I should say. And a loop is simply just I have an idea, something I want to do, and then I do the thing that I need to do, and then I get a result, right? So a big loop will be an example of, say, 700-pound deadlift. That's a really big loop. Or maybe, something that's pretty far out, that's past 6 months, something that's really far away. Maybe losing 20, 30 pounds, maybe getting a six pack or something like that. That's a really big loop. Basically something beyond 3 months. And then you have a small loop, like a chunk of that goal, maybe losing 5 pounds, or maybe increasing your best PR by 10 pounds. Excuse me. So, and that is a small loop. Now, if you want to be successful at training and continue to train on a regular basis, you have to close a lot of small loops in your training. And what that simply is to see consistent results. Now, everyone has a different meaning for what results are. I mean, as far as like the small nuances. Like for me, because I'm so into this training thing sometimes, I really want to geek out on small little things like position of my hips, or how the bar breaks off the ground, or when I have the ideal pull position, or where my back is set, or my back angle, all these little tiny things. Ultimately, a lot of it's really feel. How light did it feel? How fast did it feel? And not so much about if I lifted more weight, because I already know that lifting a large amount of weight is something that has to be built up, meaning that you have to prepare for it, like for meat. That requires preparation. It requires time. It's not something that you can just walk into the gym in a training schedule and just hit, unless, of course, you're a novice and you're a beginner. So I bring the subject up because when you're training and you want to get better and you want to stay motivated, you have to find a way to somehow get that automatic feedback loop, not automatic, but these small loops of progress. So that's kind of why following a program is helpful for some people. Other people like to play things by ear. But the one thing that's for certain is that you have to find a way to somehow stay motivated or somehow build your confidence on a regular basis. And the topic of this video, why I'm talking about big loops and small loops and goal setting, is that, first of all, the most difficult thing is setting a fucking goal, right? That's actually probably the most difficult part, because we are afraid of disappointing ourselves. We're afraid of being depressed and sad and just disappointed, right? Who wants to be disappointed? If I don't set any goals, I'm not going to be disappointed. But the reality is, when you set a goal, it pushes you, right? Not a super big goal, but a goal that you can actually strike. Something that's within striking distance, is a little bit outside your comfort zone. That's going to push you. It's going to make you rush to get there. But the goal is too big sometimes, so you have to chunk it out. You have to make it smaller goals. So let's say your best deadlift is 500 pounds, and your goal is to hit like 510, right? So what do you have to do to hit 510? Where are your strengths? Where are your weaknesses? Is it from setup? Or do you need practice with singles? Do you need practice holding the tightness in your stomach with the belt? Are your hamstrings weak? Are your glutes weak? Is your foot position not ideal? These are little things that you can get from simply watching your own videos of you train. It could be somehow essentially tracking your programming, your workouts. These are little things that allow you to sort of get a sense for what it is that you're making progress on. But the point I'm trying to make here is that determine what activities that's going to give you the highest amount of leverage. And when I say the highest amount of leverage is squat, say if you're trying to do powerlifting, because that's what I'm doing, powerlifting, what is going to give you the most amount of leverage? Now, we can dig into this pretty deep, and I don't know how long I'm going to talk for, but let's just say, for example, squat. Okay, squat. It's very often that quads are weak, right? So what is it that I need to improve to somehow get out of the sticking point in a squat for a certain weight? Well, the kind of longer term, short term answer, or I say longer term answer, is build your quads. Typically, that's usually the problem for most people. They don't have strong enough quads for essentially the rest of their body for the squat. And there's technique, there's strength in the quads, there's so many different things. But until you actually commit to focusing on one particular weakness to really narrow it down, you won't know. So you have to decide, okay, I'm going to work on my quads for the next 2 weeks and see if it feels better, if it's faster. And that's the only way you're going to know. You have to really focus your efforts on one thing. And until you focus your efforts on one thing, there's no way to tell if you're getting better or if you're getting worse. Because this is the biggest problem. I was talking to somebody today about their training because they gained some weight, good weight, because they're trying to put on size. And they're finding that their endurance is not as lacking, right? They gain about 10 pounds over the period of 4 months, which is actually quite a bit. And the size of this individual was like 130, went up to 140 pounds. So he's not big by any means, So with that said, his strength has gone up, but his endurance has come down. And I basically said what he already knew. And just what I said, because he's a smart guy. He knows what he's talking about. He's a coach. And I says, you already know the answer. You have to train hard. There's like no way around this. 10 pounds. Look, for me to put on 10 pounds is different for him to put on 10 pounds because simply his relative body weight. I'm taller and bigger, right? So I'm going from, let's say, 190 to 200 because I'm about $190 now. 190 pounds to 200 pounds. If he goes from 130 to 140 pounds, that's a huge difference as far as percentage of weight. And I don't know what the exact calculations are, but I know well enough that that's going to impact him more than it is going to impact me as far as slowing down for movement efficiency, for endurance, for just anything, right? You're moving more weight. You can still do 20 push-ups, but trust me, it's going to be harder to do 20 push-ups for multiple sets because it's relative body weight. You weigh more. And with that said, I'm bringing this up and getting off on a little tangent here, but realize that one of the things that happens is that when you're trying to see and track something to lose weight or try to improve your performance, right? So this is where I was going with this, is that if he tries to lose some weight to improve his performance, he's not going to be able to see that. Because the reality is when you cut calories, it's going to affect the ability to train. So there's just too many training variables. There's food intake, there's sleep, there's work, there's different training programs. There's just too many things that you're doing that's going to impact your results. And so it's really hard to narrow in what's actually working. And then it all turns into believing in your own bullshit. Like you don't even know if it actually works or not, right? So my point is that until you can narrow down what it is you're getting worse or better at, you really can't do anything. So the best thing to do is to make an educated decision or have a coach help you or somebody help you decide what it is that you need to work on and then put all your efforts into that thing for 2 weeks or 3 weeks and then reevaluate if you're getting better. You got to have some sort of benchmark, right? Typically in powerlifting, it's easier because you can do rep PRs. You can't do one rep max all the time because if you're advanced, it's very difficult to do. But if you're doing rep PRs, it's easy. Are you doing better? Because I'm about, I weighed in this morning at 188 pounds, right? 188.9, so 189 pounds about. And my bench has not really been negatively impacted at the rep scale, meaning that I was able to do 225 on the bench press, 225 pounds for 10 reps the other day. And that's with basically very little training. All touch and go though, not pause. So, my squat has gone down significantly, but that's only because it's untrained. I don't know if I'm actually weaker or not. My deadlift has definitely gone down quite a bit. I pulled 4 4:45 the other day on a video I need to edit. But anyways, my point is that until you actually ramp into a training program for a period of at least 6 weeks, usually longer, there's no way to know if what you're doing is actually working. Because the reality is, if you are inconsistent, being consistent is going to get you results, and you're going to get amazing results from just being consistent. But if you're already consistent, then there's other tweaks that need to happen. This is kind of why professional athletes have coaches. Now, they don't have just physical coaches like trainers. They also have mental coaches. So anyways, going back to the original topic, which is basically goal setting and big loops and small loops, understand one of the things that allows you to be able to stay motivated is to have loops closed. Loops closed. Again, that's a small goal. I'm going to work out 3 days a week for the next 2 weeks, then measure results. I'm going to, I'm going to improve I'm going to lose 10 pounds. I'm trying to lose 20 pounds over the next 3 months, right? Just as an example, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to focus on the activity to help me guide me there and measure in 2 weeks and see how close I am. And that's what it is. It's finding the one small thing, a small loop, an activity goal, and really focus on that activity goal a lot. And then you have this bigger loop that's within this small loop, which is essentially which is the overarching goal. Get a 6-pack, lose 20 pounds, lose 50 pounds, deadlift 500 pounds, 600 pounds, whatever, squat the house, whatever, hit elite status, whatever it might be that you want to do. Find that thing that you want to do and then do it. And then that's a big goal because it's really far out, right? Then you need to find small activities that's going to make you to that goal. Now, I'm bringing this up and it's obvious and you might already know this, but the thing I want to put emphasis on is you have to pick one thing. You can't pick 3 or 4 things. I mean, you can still work on those things, but you have to isolate what it is that's really getting you the high leverage result. Like weak quads for the squat. People have sticking points in the squat. Is it your squat? Is it that your quads are weak? Do you need to put more size on your quads? Or is it that you just need to squat more? I mean, it's so funny because I remember following a program with the Candido program, and his program was 4 days a week of squatting, I think. Or maybe it was twice a week. I can't remember. The point is I was squatting more often than I wanted to. I would squat even if I didn't want to because it was part of the program. And if anything, that's probably the thing that made the biggest consistency for me, was just simply following something that was to be consistent. So I think honestly, a lot of people who are trying to make progress in training, I'm of the opinion that you're not consistent. I mean, that's just my opinion. Why? Because I'm inconsistent, because a lot of people are inconsistent, because you don't train for a living, right? People don't train for a living. We have jobs, you have regular jobs. Some of us actually, even me, if you think about me, people who work in a gym, it's a little bit easier. You can focus on your training a lot more. It takes a great deal of energy though. But once you become consistent, then you start to do tweaks. But I think what the reality is that we're all looking for that shortcut or that magical exercise or that magical cue or movement or technique that we're trying to just figure it out. And, I got this deadlift series that I got coming out, right? I mean, I've been posting videos. I got I think 10 of them or more. And you're going to see that there is little nuances in each of those things. And I can say the same thing 5 different ways when it comes to deadlifting because I am that well in tune with what it is for my abilities. So whether you deadlift more than me or less than me, you can still take some of that because that's really what you do. You're getting ideas to sort of reach your own conclusion for how it relates to you. Hope that makes sense. Anyways, it makes sense to me. If you got a question, please feel free to leave a comment. Click the thumbs up button for me because it helps me out. Anyways, other than that, thanks for watching. And if you're not on my email list and you like to read emails, check the link in the description. I'll see you guys later.